Hey everybody, I'm Brother Jackie Cannell, and I am so excited to invite you to Impact Leadership. What a blessing it is to be able to speak to leaders just like you. And so today, I want to talk about leadership mathematics. That's right. 2 plus 2 equals 4 and so on and so forth. But how do you add up leadership? When you think about it, the Bible says, if a man's going to build a tower, doesn't he sit down first and count the cost? I think there's a lot of people in leadership that simply does not sit down and count the cost before they dive in the deep end of leadership. Leadership success and leadership mathematics is absolutely a necessity, the one most commonly overlooked. That is, have you counted the cost for your leadership? I can't tell you how many people I talk to that have dived into leadership and then they start sinking or they start drowning and they don't know what to do. You've got to be smart enough to count the cost. When I think about leadership mathematics, I don't want you to think about money as part of the equation because that's not what we're talking about. What I want to talk to you about is how do you count the mathematics of leadership. So I'm going to kind of give you a few things just to kind of marinate on, think about, and I'd love to hear back from you as you listen to this. So let's think about adding up or counting the cost of leadership. What I like to do is I like to sit down when I'm thinking about leadership and I like to count the big deals first. Let me give you some ideas about the big deal. First of all, your big dream. What is your big dream? When you think about counting the big deal, let's think about your big dream. What is that? Adding up the value of that. What is your big goals? What is your big impact? What is your big reach? When you think about leadership mathematics, you need to sit down and really look at the big deals first. What are you really trying to do in leadership? If you're going to be a leader and you're going to kind of think about leadership and mathematics in leadership and you got to count the costs, let's count the big deals first. Big dreams, big goals, big ideas, big impact, big reach. What are you trying to do with this big deal? And so count that, man. Just sit down and really evaluate that. So you count the big deals first, and then you need to count the small deals. For example, what's going to be your action steps? What are the little things that you got to do in order to achieve the big deals? And so once you count the big deal, you got to count the little deals. Count your infrastructure. How are you going to make this happen? What's going to be your leadership team? How many people do you have to have on your team? What about your geography? What's going to be your location? All these little bitty things that begin to add up in leadership. Now, counting the big deals and then counting the small deals is so important in leadership mathematics. And again, I see so many people in leadership that never sit down and count the cost first. Now, that's what you got to do. Counting the big deals, counting the little deals, and then count the change. That is the details. What about time, meetings, longevity, energy, management, maintenance, operating cost? All of those things are changing all the time. So as a leader, and you're going to sit down and you're really going to kind of put this thing into some type of a manageable process. It's called leadership mathematics. Count the big deals. Have you done that? Have you really sat down and thought about your big idea, your big goal, your big reach, your big impact? What does that mean? And then if you counted the little deals, the action step, what's it going to take to get me there? The infrastructure, who have I got to take with me? The geography, where are we going to do this at? And then the change, count your change. The meetings, the maintenance, the energy, the operating cost. And then you subtract the opposition and the negatives. You look at the bottom line of all these and you ask yourself these two profound questions. Now, this is a big deal. These two questions are important, y'all. When you count the cost, you subtract all the opposition and all that junk, and then you ask yourself this question. Are you ready to write it down? Is it worth it? Is your leadership that you're wanting to do, where you want to invest yourself in the process and the projects and all that, is it really worth it? And then here's the other question. Am I willing to pay the price? Leadership don't come cheap, y'all. It costs you something. So when we think about leadership, there's a lot that goes into it rather than just a big idea. No, you got to sit down and have the leadership mathematics and kind of put it down, count the big costs, count the little costs, count the change, and then you ask yourself legitimately, is this going to be worth it, and am I willing to pay the price? If the answer is yes, then see it through, man. But listen, don't be a leadership dummy. First, count the cost. And when you count that cost, you sit down and you evaluate that and you go, man, I'm not willing to pay the price and it's not going to be worth it. Then you got to abort this idea, get out of it. But if you count the cost and you ask yourself, is it worth it? And you've looked at your big deals, small deals and change, and you say yes, then man, hammer into it, get you a bulldog coat and just go for it. Hey, listen. I hope this kind of helps you a little bit. There's a lot to talk about in this, but I'd love to talk to you more about it. If, when you think about this speaking to you, I hope you'll share the YouTube link with people and stay up to date with us. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram. Subscribe to it over the YouTube channel. Tell somebody else about it. Remember, you're not average. You're learning to be an excellent leader. Can't wait to see you next time.